Hey everyone! Today I have a tale that will send shivers down your spine. This is the story of my 10th birthday. A day that should have been filled with joy and laughter, but instead became a living nightmare. My family was wealthy, so my birthdays were always grand. This year my parents went all out, a huge playground, delicious food, and the pièce de résistance, a clown named Mr. Jolly, to entertain us. Now, I've never been fond of clowns. They always seemed a bit creepy to me, but my mother assured me this clown was special. He's famous, she said, really good at magic tricks. When Mr. Jolly arrived, he wore an old, tattered costume that seemed like it hadn't been replaced in years. His mask wasn't the usual happy clown face. It had a forced smile, but the eyes, they were empty. At first, everything seemed normal. He cracked jokes, juggled balls, and made balloon animals. But then came the magic tricks. That's when I felt something was off. "I have a special trick for the birthday boy," he announced, pulling out an old wooden box. He gestured for me to step inside, then draped a red cloth over it. I could hear the murmurs of the guests, excited, anticipating the trick. Then suddenly, everything changed. The world spun, and the sounds of the party disappeared. Silence. I pulled back the red cloth, my breath hitched. I wasn't at my party anymore. I was in a dark room, surrounded by mirrors, and in each mirror stood a version of me. But they weren't the same. One was covered in blood, another had a wide, manic grin, eyes unhinged, and one just stood there staring directly at me, holding a knife. Before I could move, a voice whispered behind me, "Surprise, birthday boy." Mr. Jolly. But he no longer wore a mask. He had no face. I couldn't breathe. In front of me stood Mr. Jolly, or whatever he was, grinning despite having no mouth. But what terrified me more, my reflections in the mirrors were moving, without me moving. The bloody version stepped closer, pointing at me, like he wanted to switch places. The crazed version kept laughing, his hysteria growing, and the one with the knife slowly pressed the blade against his throat. "Stop!" I screamed. Mr. Jolly chuckled, a hollow, metallic sound like a broken music box. "Happy birthday," he cooed. "Now choose, which one do you want to be?" I stumbled back. "What are you talking about?" "Everyone has different versions of themselves. A kind one, a mad one, a killer," he explained. "Today, on your special day, you get to choose. But if you don't..." He leaned closer. "They'll choose for you." I glanced at my reflections. The bloodied one was licking his lips. The laughing one was trembling with excitement, and the one with the knife, he was staring directly at me. A cold sensation crawled up my spine. I felt something touch my shoulder, or someone. "Or," Mr. Jolly whispered, "I can choose for you." The room became heavy, suffocating. The mirrors seemed to pull me in. "What do you want to be, birthday boy?" His voice slithered around me. "Because if you don't decide..." His hand gripped mine. "I will." I shut my eyes, and suddenly, the noise came rushing back. I was at the party again, standing in the middle of my guests, holding a knife. Mr. Jolly lay on the floor, blood spreading across his chest. My mother was screaming, clutching her face in horror. The guests were frozen, too stunned to move. And me? I was staring at the knife in my hand. Then, in the glass window's reflection, I saw something. My own reflection, grinning back at me. Out of all the versions of myself I had seen, he was the only one smiling. Thanks for listening, and if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more chilling tales.